So Ashley, how did you hear about the conch?
My husband actually works with Raffia, and he showed me your Instagram, and I was inspired by all the photos and was asked by Raffia if I wanted to be a style icon. And I was excited to learn and hear more about the company.
So Ashley, at the Kaanch, as you may know, we like to showcase inspiring and empowering women by using fashion as a medium.
Yep.
Is there anything in particular that you would say attracted you to our mission?
Yeah, I think it's great that you're trying to empower women and using fashion as the medium to kind of communicate with through generations. You have the younger generation, currently the generations that's working, and then as well as your role models that are currently in higher positions. And fashion can kind of speak towards everybody. And it's great, especially with those younger generations, that they can kind of gravitate and see that there are women who are empowered.
How have you perceived fashion, throughout your career and, even in school?
Yeah, so fashion when I was younger wasn't something that I gravitated towards. However, I did notice it, and I thought that was a way for people to express who they were, what their interests were. But as I got older and in a professional setting, I realized that it's extremely important to make sure that you represent yourself, and your appearance is actually extremely important to express who you are and what you want to be. I was always told that you need to dress for the part that you want to be. So as I grew, I learned to appreciate fashion and what it stood for as far as my professional career.
And I completely resonate with that. At the Kaanch, we create styles to reflect the inner personality of the individual wearing the style itself. Now, how did you, I know you have an interesting role, how did you actually gravitate towards that role or that field itself?
So I really loved math and science growing up as a kid. My dad is a lawyer, and my mom is a med tech at the hospital, and my dad and mom both recognized that I could excel in math and science. So I was encouraged by my parents to continue to pursue the math and science path before there was ever any focus on STEM and what those careers had to offer. So I continued looking into engineering to see what it had to offer.
Math and science, I wish I could say the same. So what does your day-to-day look like in your current job?
Day-to-day, working over in Kazakhstan, it's very eye-opening, working with a lot of the locals and the interaction with different cultures from people all over the world. But day-to-day, I work out in the oil field. It's about 12, 14 hours every day out in the field. Again, I'm in a hard hat, steel-toed boots, fire retardant jumpers, and I'm continually working with the crews out in the site to make sure that they are safe, they understand what they need to be doing, and how we can best manage our time and our resources. Currently, we're constructing infrastructure for the oil to come out of the ground and installing pipes, compressors, heat exchangers, flow meters, so that when the oil does come out of the ground, we can send it to the refinery for it to get processed. So I'm in charge of actually making sure all that equipment gets installed properly and safely.
Okay, so it seems like a pretty hazardous job where you have to be aware almost 24/7 or whenever you're on the job, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we're in a pretty high stress and dangerous environment, such that the oil that we're producing on the ground is poisonous. It has H2S in it, hydrogen sulfide, which can kill you instantly. So there's a lot of precautions we need to take in being in a country where the workers who are conducting the work, they don't speak the same language. It takes a lot of preparation to make sure you can communicate with the people to make sure they're doing it safely, because they could get hurt.
Oh, very interesting. So Ashley, your field is traditionally, or stereotypically speaking, seen as a male-dominated field. Yes. I mean, you could correct me if I'm wrong. Are there any day-to-day difficulties that you face, on the job?
Yeah, day-to-day, it is a little frustrating. I have to earn the respect of my colleagues, especially the male ones. You have to continually show them that you know what you're doing from a technical and a managerial perspective, and you have to be consistent in what you deliver and making sure your results are within budget and on time. And once you're able to prove that to them, then from the day to day, you won't be challenged nearly as much. But it's that continual struggle of just gaining respect. It's not already received, it's you have to prove yourself over and over on it.
And that's on top of, I mean, the high pressure situation that you're in every single day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So the field that you're in, I mean, that's the day-to-day difficulty that you shared. How about in terms of kind of the bigger picture, difficulty within your career, or how do you? Are there any difficulties, or how do you cope with them?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge that my husband and I are actually facing right now is a dual career. We're both young professionals and trying to figure out whose career is going to lead us. And ultimately, if one's leading, one's going to have to sacrifice a little bit. You can't have everything. So it's trying to balance between having your career and not having gaps in it, especially if you want to go start a family. There's a certain point in your career, at least for a female, if you want to have a family, you have to really weigh, your pros and cons on what's important to you and your spouse. And it's difficult to take a break in that career as a female and then try to come back after having your family for some time, where, the male, they can continue to ride in their career without having these breaks. So that's the bigger overarching picture. But as a female, I hope to inspire my children one day and continue to work and show them that you can still have a family and still accelerate your career.
So Ashley, I know you did share a lot of the day-to-day difficulties that you have, and also overarching difficulties too. But I mean, what keeps you pushing to succeed in your field?
Yeah. Nothing specifically relating to oil. Honestly, it's the people. Knowing that I'm impacting and making a change for the better for a lot of people's lives. Specifically, an example, when I was working in California, I had a project to install a bunch of water tanks that were used to clean our water. And at the end of the day, it wasn't that I installed this water tank and to help the plant, but the fact that I was improving the time that my operator actually had in order to go do his rounds of maintenance. There was a lot of work that he had to put into with these water tanks, and now that I installed a new water tank and made his rounds and just his life as an operator that much easier, and then he can focus on other parts of the plant that needed his attention. So at the end of the day, it's really the people that I'm working with that continue to push me to strive to do my best in the oil field. And I would say that probably could resonate with a lot of people, regardless of whatever industry you're in. It's the fact that you're helping those around you just do better.
Okay, so it's the impact that you're making because of the things that you're doing within your current role.
Yep. And I'm passionate about it. I want to make people's lives easier. People, they make the world go round, and we call it human energy. That's one of Chevron's slogans. And it's those that are here producing the energy out of the ground, but
very, very fulfilling role.
Yes,
I would say.
Yes, very.
So Ashley, like we mentioned earlier, the field that you're in, the route that you've taken, is not a, I don't mean this offensively, not a normal route. It's a difficult one.
Yep.
What type of advice would you have for someone trying to break into this field, or to take the route that you're taking? Yeah,
my number one advice would be persistence. To continue to try and try and try again, even if you fall down. Like, you need to get back up and continue to try. Life isn't always easy. The route I chose was difficult. Engineering is not an easy career path by any means, but you put in those hours, you put in that effort, and what you experience in return is just so fulfilling. And it's only because I continue to drive forward. I saw what was at the end, and I couldn't be more thankful for where I'm at right now, getting to travel the world because of my career. And it all started from engineering, and my parents saw that in me, that I had that drive and that desire, and they were persistent in continuing to not push me, but to guide me in a direction, and could see what I could become. So persistence is the number one thing I would say.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
Last but not least, we just wanted to thank you again, Ashley, for joining us today on International Women's Day. And what you've shared with us will definitely inspire a lot of individuals out there. And we just wanted to thank you again. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.